witches!
Hi, hello. Welcome back.
We are back to A Night and Its Moon after that last cliffhanger. Don't worry though, we're going to end on a cliffhanger again.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a cliffhanger this late in the game.
No, not at all. But it was.
It was good. I liked it. I
Speaking of
liked it so much I
cliffhangers,
continued reading.
I
It's
didn't,
like
but
I
that's
gotta
only
stop.
because I had to stop because we have the new puppy and I had to go help take care of him, and you can't possibly read and take notes while there's a new puppy around. It's just not a thing that can happen. But the
Yeah.
first thing I wrote in my notes was I totally forgot what Millicent did to Nox. Um, like I forgot the cliffhanger from last time because it'd been so long since I read. So yeah, totally
I know as
forgot.
soon as it said Nox was dying, I was like,
And
what
I
the
was like,
fuck happened?
what? And then I remembered and was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I I honestly didn't expect Millicent to be a human, like a normal person with just this deformity as it was
Right?
described.
Right?
And there was something too where what is it's like her situation of being like hidden from the world essentially and doing her own thing with her family reminds me of like a story or like a character that I've seen before. I mean, it's obviously probably been seen quite a bit, but I can't what specifically the one thing I'm thinking of I cannot think of. It's like right there on the tip of the tongue that I can't form anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is why you should let people embrace who they are.
Yeah. Just
I mean,
love people.
I guess back in this time though, she could have been like killed because
Yeah.
what a much better ending, not ending, but what a much better, not better. Let me change that again. Different story this would have been.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, and I was actually, it's crazy that you say that, just talking. I had a doctor's appointment this morning and I met a new doctor because my doctor moved. Um, and we were talking about how I'm a teacher and I teach students with severe disabilities. And she was like, we just didn't have kids with severe disabilities when I was in school. And I was like, that's because they were institutionalized because she went to like high school in the 70s. And I was like, yeah, that's because they were all still just shoved into institutions. And she was like, you know what? You're right. She was like, because when I did my residency, I did it at whatever asylum. And I was like, yeah, all people with disabilities were shoved into mental asylums, even though that's not the appropriate placement. And it was just really interesting to talk to someone who is kind of out of
Kind of lived
touch.
it.
Yeah. And out of touch with the way things are now. Like,
Well, and I would have never. Okay, so like I knew we had like a resource room of sorts. We had that, but working at the high school, I didn't realize how involved like kids are nowadays compared to when I went to high school.
yeah.
I like felt like I never saw them. I didn't know how to interact with them.
I didn't even know where their classroom was.
Yeah, it was like I always wanted to walk to the one classroom thinking that's where I needed to go, but it was actually like the not the resource room, but the small high school, and I still don't even know what it is. Like facts.
Mm.
So like cooking specifically in that classroom. Um, but it's just weird. Like they were just shunned and like kept by themselves. They never left and they never did anything. They just stayed in their room all day long.
Yeah. And I feel like that's
Poor
something
people.
that still happens sometimes. It just really depends on the teacher um, and the school environment, how often they get out of their classroom. So, like, that could have all happened to Millicent,
Yeah.
but it didn't. I mean, kind of. It was like Elsa. She had to wear the gloves and conceal, don't feel.
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
I was like, there's some character out here that does this thing and it becomes her undoing. That's what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Elsa. It's Elsa. And also, I think I missed something because, like, in chapter 36, we start off with her dying, and she is just laying there catatonic in bed. She can kind of grunt here or there, like yes or no's, but other than that, she's just there, like a shell of a body, kind of like how she leaves her, I guess, victims. And when did she find out that every single thing that Millicent has told her, like about Amaris and all of that, was a lie?
Because she heard the like Zakai and the other, I can't remember what they're called right now, but not a Gimni, but whatever they are, Agarath. And anyway, the other winged creatures.
They're just fae. They're just fae.
Yeah. She heard them talking about the silver-haired girl and her two companions that were heading towards Priory.
I call it Priori.
That's what I thought.
I guess I mean, if I was Nox and I was in this situation, I don't think I would have like thought, of course, everything that she said was a lie. I probably would still be thinking like they brainwashed her. She's doing
like
stuff for
Stockholm syndrome.
them. Yeah, like that's what I would have thought. And she's over here like everything she said was a lie. This, like maybe not like knows the complete story, but just knows that Amaris didn't go with them from being stolen.
It could also be partially because the madam did like almost kill her. Like she could have just been like, bitch. Like it's like things just finally started to click.
If when she touches people with that like hand, claw, whatever it is, I wonder if she kind of like leeches her information into other people.
Could be.
So like the memories of what happened. No, she probably would have commented on that, but I mean maybe it's kind of hidden right now because she doesn't want anyone to know.
Maybe. I don't know. So much.
We don't have much longer.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have the second book, so we can. I don't know. Are we
start right
in, or are we going back to Silver Flames?
God, I don't know. I want both.
Right? I want to know what happens next in both stories. Oh my god. No.
Both stories would start like merging together.
Yes. And you know how annoyed people would be at us? They'd be like, I want to know what happened to Nox. And it's like 6 months later, and we're like, we're on chapter 2. Oh my gosh. Man. Brittany's already like, when are you going to finish this book? I need to know what happens.
In the next 3 weeks.
Yes.
Man.
That's really kind of all that happens in chapter.
Yeah.
36. Nox is pissed and she's ready to kill the madam.
And she can't do anything about it. She's just laying there.
Yeah, but she can't. And then we get to chapter
37 though.
Ugh.
37 kind of got me in my. This one kind of got me in my feels, but also at the end, I was like, never mind.
When I literally texted you and was like, I am literally fucking sick. Like, this is disgusting.
Yeah. I was really starting to feel for Millicent. I was like, man, she was born with this. There is no way out for her. Like, she was kind of dealt a shit hand. Literally. But
oh my god. That was amazing. Anyway.
It took me, listen, it's 4:20 today. So it took me a little longer than it should have. But anyways, so I was starting to feel really sad for her. I was like, oh, poor Millicent. Like, this is why she is the way that she is. Like, maybe I should feel sorry for. No, Piper
You know who
CJ was
else you
like,
feel sorry
you
for?
thought?
When you hear like that. I'm trying to think of like Dennis Rader, the BTK was like abused as a child. Like you feel bad
Yeah,
when you hear their childhood story, but then you think about all of the women that he killed, and you're like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. Like,
yeah. I every serial killer thing I've ever read, anything I ever talked about. Yeah,
like I
I
just listened. So I listened to
constantly.
um, morbid true crime podcast, and right now I just finished listening. I'm way behind, so don't at me,
You
Elena Nash,
always
if you
say
listen
that.
to this. I so am. Like I'm trying to get caught up, but like right now where I'm at, they're still in 2020. Like they're going through the pandemic right now. Yeah. So like I'm way behind, like a couple years behind because I started at the beginning. But anyway, um the point of that is that right now they just did the case of I think it's Zach Bowen. He killed his girlfriend and like cooked her body. He didn't eat her, but he cooked her up. Anyway,
What the fuck?
um
Why?
cuz they lived in New Orleans through Katrina and like didn't evacuate, so they like I don't know. And that's how their love story started, and then they like became toxic after life started to go back to normal. But like they're like, oh, he had PTSD and all of this, and you're like, oh, I kind of like that sucks. Like, you know, I kind of feel bad for him. But then he kills his girlfriend and puts her in the oven, and like then it ends up being a murder suicide. Like he kills her and all this, and then once like what he did catches up with him, he jumps off of the Omni Hotel.
He's
But
like, I am done with life.
yeah, so I mean, it's just like it's that same kind of thing. Like you feel bad for him because you're like, damn, like he went to war after 9/11 and he saw some shit and like, but then he fucking went crazy and did something like despicable. So like I don't feel bad for him. And it's kind of the same with Millicent.
Yeah,
Like you're like, yeah, lots of people have PTSD and don't murder people.
true. And you know, you could probably bring that back to society.
Yes. Not I
Blame it
mean,
all on them.
so much of this could go back to society. Yes.
But yeah, what she did at the end of this chapter, or towards the end of this chapter, I have a few
Uh,
words.
I have lots of words. I literally on page 409 was like, "Oh no, I don't like where this is going." Um because she starts or she's taught that's when they're talking about her childhood and all of that and like how her childhood is. And then um there this is like Millicent's backstory where her parents called her Millie. Um and then she's sitting there with her mom and her mom's like doing needlework or something. Um and on page 410 and her mom looks over and the cat was on Millie's lap and Millie was petting the cat and the cat's just dead. And I was like, not the fucking cat! Like, fuck you! I was pissed. As my cats are like wandering the room right now, like, bitch, why did you shut us in here? But still, I
Well,
was
and
like,
then
not the cat.
it's yeah, well, and then it's really really sad that she like goes in to like hug her mom
Mm-hmm.
and then brushes her skin with her hand and then kills her mom, and then it's like the dad panics
And
and
like throws her
shoves
across the
her.
room.
Yeah.
Well, and then like there's like this whole paragraph that's like love has shown its face every day as the three of them lived. Love had taught her how to bake. Love had urged them to encourage their daughter to stretch herself and grow, not to be limited by what others perceived. Love caused her father to throw his daughter to the ground. Like she's this basically all made her hate love
Yeah.
because she thinks that love was the reason that all of this happened. Which I mean, she's not wrong. Like, but
Yeah.
the next page is
The
where
worst of them all.
yeah, page 412. Um Millicent decides that Nox needs to heal and that there's only one way she's going to heal.
Through
And
sex.
yeah, basically through feeding, which for Nox as a succubus is sex. Keep in mind that Nox is basically in a coma right now. She's paralyzed. She can't move. So
It's rape.
yeah, it literally says she turned away from the horror as like this is about Millicent. She turned away from the horror as she sent the intoxicated patron to Knox's room, closing her eyes as the man shut the door behind him. So like she feels disgusted with herself, but like she still does it. Like she sends this
Yeah.
man in there to rape Knox so she can get what she wants. Fuck you, bitch.
Like there has got to be a completely other way to do this.
Yeah, it's just not acceptable. It literally, this was the chapter when I texted you that day and was like, I literally feel sick right now. This is the chapter I was reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I got really upset when I read this. Because as I heard the I will heal you, you just have to feed, I kind of stopped and was like, fuck. She's going to have someone rape her. And I just got really mad. And I was like, okay. Excuse me, princess, that's rape. What the fuck is your deal?
Like,
she's a horrible fucking person. I still
really
feel bad
is.
for her for like childhood, because her childhood was
Like,
kind of shitty. But
I feel bad for the child, but like, fuck the adult that child turned into. Because there are so many people that have terrible things happen to them in their childhood and like turn it around and make something better out of themselves. And she went the complete opposite way.
maybe Piper CJ wanted people to think, like, go through this moral dilemma, but also try to get her to understand, like, Millicent the way she is,
Yeah,
and
well,
like
I feel
maybe
like
give her like a redeeming arc, maybe.
that's kind of like how they did Maleficent, like they did the new Maleficent, or not new Maleficent, it's not new anymore, but like,
The
where
most
they,
recent.
not the most recent one, but like just the Maleficent origin story where they were like showing that she was in love with him and he took her wings for power and like all of that stuff. And like they're giving you her backstory so you understand why, but like it's in this case, it still does not excuse what she does.
No. That was a ballet we did in my senior year in high school, and it was annoying. It was so annoying. And then, like, the most bitchy girl in our class got to be the queen, and she's like, oh, I'm a queen. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Erica. Like, listen, I'm the nurse, man. I'm holding your baby right now. Like, I can fucking drop it. Like, that's power.
Oh my god.
But it's really funny because there was another bitchy girl in my, like, high school class. I mean, she was nice, but definitely the rich girl, definitely the designer, everything, like, sportsy kind of whatever. Parents were rich, so like she did like competitive dance and all these things. She was Maleficent. And I remember I'm supposed to get like possessed by her and like dance towards her as I'm holding this baby, because like she's taken the baby to like curse by also cursing the one who's taking care of her. And there's like a certain point in time where she's supposed to like growl in my ear, like really, really loud, so like people can like see that she's like evil or something like that. And right before, as I'm walking to this girl named Savannah, she looks at me and goes, I'm going to grab you. Try not to scream. And I was like, or should I? Should I or shouldn't I? And so she grabs me, and honestly, I forgot she was doing it because it's like a small like little interlude going to it. But I forgot she was doing it, and I was like, man, she's such a mean girl. Like, this is the most perfect thing for her to terrify someone. Like, this is great. And then Maleficent came out, and I was like, ugh, she's still a mean girl. I still hate that show.
Yeah. Are you looking at my cats?
Yeah,
They're
they were
being insane.
distracting me.
Yeah, they're locked in here
I had
with
to
me
like
right
look
now.
down and away because all I hear are like cats meowing and hopping around.
Yeah, they are stuck in here with me right now because I had to shut the door because the dog is in the bedroom watching Beauty and the Beast and howling. So, Beauty and the Beast is
I
like
don't
the
think
one
Beauty and the
thing.
Beast.
It's the one thing that like stops him from howling. So like when I first left the room, he was howling. He's probably stopped by now. It's so weird,
Why is that your dog?
right? I don't know.
You have a bad day. I'm gonna go home and watch Beauty and the Beast. Oh, I'm just happy again.
Yeah, I know. I don't know that it is though. I don't know.
Anyways, Millicent is a bitch. We don't like her.
Yeah,
Although I
fuck
still
that
feel
bitch.
sorry for her. Like, anyways.
Chapter 38. Um Kipper, did you have something to say?
He has all the things to say.
He's like,
Um,
yes, bitch. Let me out.
so I wrote something on 414, and Millicent talked about power, and how like that basically was the um, what is it? Are they good? Are they okay?
I'm gonna open the door. Sorry, guys.
No, okay. So Millicent talked about power and how like love is this or love is that, and that's like the most powerful one. I honestly think desperation is the most powerful one because you get desperate for something so bad that you will go to the ends of the earth to do it. Like she's desperate for Nox to get better. She's desperate for Nox to stay within her clutches. So she has a random person rape her, knowing he's going to die, just so that she could be okay because she wants power in the long run within the court. And it just, you become so desperate that you become stupid,
Yeah,
and it leads to mistakes, and it can actually like really cost your life or others or the person that you're trying to keep. It can really fuck with them.
yeah.
She's
I
wrong.
also, in this chapter, I also really liked the very first sentence. It just says recovery and healing were not one and the same. And I feel like that's so real.
True.
Like, you can recover from a situation and get back to a sense of normalcy and still not have healed from that situation. And I feel like that's a huge thing. But yeah, um, I think I didn't have a lot for this chapter, but I was basically like, I feel like Nox is lulling Millicent into a false sense of security or a false sense of like friendship because I think she
Yeah.
has her own agenda and she might need Millicent to get there, or maybe she just wants revenge before she leaves. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where you get caught in your enemy's snare and you kind of have to fake it till you make it kind of thing. And that's
Yeah.
probably what she's doing until she can find the opportunity to, I guess, do whatever, whether that be kill her or get what she needs, which I think she would probably get what she needs, then come back and try to kill her some way possible. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Poor old girl.
Yeah, it's just wild. That whole situation was wild. Like, I can't even. I'm still stuck on it. But then, like, Nox is like trying to make her feel better. She's like, you did what you had to do. I was in the middle of an episode and I would have flung us both from the moving carriage. You stopped us the only way you knew how. And she's like trying to make Millicent feel better and make her think, oh, it's all okay. I don't blame you. Like, but like, fuck that. Like,
She
I just,
knows.
Yeah.
She's
And
definitely pissed off.
and I think that she's definitely still going to take her revenge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
Now, I know previously I was excited to like read about Nox, but I was actually really excited to read about Amaris.
yeah, that's
It's
the
just like,
Amaris chapters are getting better. And
yeah,
these couple next chapters are like, whoa.
yeah. Um, I feel bad for like the three of them. Obviously, going into a new city, they're going outside of their comfort zone and they're just like doing their own thing. But a city as big as Priori, which, if I'm correct in understanding this, is like the outskirts, like peasant town around the walls of
The
Obaid.
castle, yeah.
Yeah. So I think these people should be not known, but like used to traveling. They're sea, like they're by the sea.
Right.
They should be used to like foreign travelers. So why are they staring at these three as if they have three heads each?
The only thing I could think of is because they had so much weaponry on them, maybe. And I feel like Amaris is a very
Oh, that's
interesting
true. She does have
looking.
white hair.
Yeah.
I just
She's got
thought
a
she
very
would keep that
interesting look.
hidden as much as she could.
You would think, but that might do it too. Like if she's like cloaked and hiding her face, like they're like, why this person
What
looks
about it?
shifty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
But
there's no middle ground.
right.
You're either shifty or shifty. That's about it.
But yeah, I thought you were gonna say something else about it because like the Amaris is like she doesn't like the city, she doesn't feel comfortable there. It almost makes her like feel sick. Like she's very like not okay with being in this city. So I literally wrote the way Amaris feels coming to the city is how I feel going back to my hometown. Like the drive there, my
Yeah.
stomach starts to roll. I start to get anxious. Like I hate
What am
it.
I going to say? How am I going to act? Am I going to make
Yes,
someone upset? Like, what am I doing?
probably. Like
Am I going to get into a fight today? Like, yep.
right. Like I just it's just not for me. Am I gonna run into somebody I went to high school with? Some people I went to high school with I would love to run into, like a total of like maybe five. And then the rest of them, I'm like, no, no thanks. I prefer not to run into you. Goodbye.
The people I would want to run into from high school do not live in the same town anymore.
A couple of the people that I would want to run into still live around there. I don't know why, but they do still live around there. There's like maybe I could count on one hand how many people I would want to see that still live around there. But
Yeah.
the rest don't still live around there.
Yeah, there's been some things happening around Peru. For like local kids, something about like cancer, I believe, and like the cancer for like with kids, so like the Riley Foundation or something like that. Because the Peru Police Department has been doing like a lot of like arresting, like jokingly arresting citizens and putting them in like a fake jail cell. And then if you want to bust them out, the bond that you have to pay is like donation money. So like you get like 15 people from the entire town, and not just one person come bonds them out, but like someone's like, I'm gonna donate $10 towards the bond for this person or that person, and whoever bonds out all these people by like the end of the day or something like that, all of that money will go to charity of the choice. And I think this time around they do it like 3 times a year, which is pretty cool. But this time they're doing it for like, I believe, a kid with cancer. I searched up and down Facebook, everything for anyone back in Peru, and I can't find anything. I'm just nosy though, so like I'm just curious what's been going on. And they had like a movie showing of this family, and I believe this person is like a police officer in Peru, like the dad is. But they did like a video of not Lifeline, but like a helicopter from Lifeline, like drop down with like a line police cars and the family like sitting there waiting. And I was like, well, who's in the helicopter? Why are they doing this? Like, why Lifeline? Like, why not just a regular helicopter? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's weird.
For like an hour, I stayed on the like Facebook searching through this entire page trying to figure out what the hell was happening. And then I saw some people I like used to go to high school with, or people that I like, parents I knew from high school. And I'm sitting there, I was like, huh. Yep. No, don't want that. Don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't care anymore.
Right?
After
I
like an
literally can't.
hour. During an hour, I just started realizing I'm seeing more and more people I know. And I'm like, all right, anxiety's kind of rising up. I got to go.
Right. Bye. Oh my goodness.
So I feel for her in this situation. We get it.
I do too. And then it's funny that you said that you're like, I feel like they should have expected, or that they should know that, or like that they shouldn't be super noticeable because it is like a traveling port town. But I kind of, or when I was writing my notes, oh my goodness, excuse me, I like said the opposite. I was like, I feel like they should have expected that they would draw attention, just because I feel like Amaris is very conspicuous, and then like with all their weapons and stuff and horses, because if they're in a peasant town and they're on horses, like that's going to be out of place too, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Malik is growing to be my favorite character.
My fucking spirit animal. He's like, are we gonna eat first? So we're not eating first. What food?
He's such a great character. He breaks the tension when it's needed most. So like Ash is like, what's your plan? And Amaris is like, I don't know, I'm just winging it. And the Malik's like, can we eat?
Yes.
It's like the comedic relief. I love it.
Yes.
But it's just funny because he's just overall naturally good. Like he's the golden retriever.
Yes.
Like male. He is like, he embodies that spirit. Like just a happy-go-lucky guy who just loves to eat. Like
yeah.
I just love it. Who would you pick though? Who's your favorite character right now?
Who's my favorite character right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay, I definitely like Malik is great comedic relief. But like so often when I'm reading a book, like all the characters get on my fucking nerves. like it doesn't mean I don't like the book. They just get on my fucking nerves. I think if I had to pick a favorite, I would say Nox is my favorite.
Nope. Nox is probably my second. It's Malik right now. Like he is king. He is such a king. Love it. I feel like I want to embody Nox's persona. Like I would love to be that person, confident in herself, all of this. But I honestly, if I'm not lying to myself, I feel like I'm Malik. Like I want to be Amaris and Nox. Like I want to be the person who can take on big things and not have to like worry about anything. And like, yeah, obviously have some setbacks with like anxiety, but overall be confident and know what I want. And more I think about it, I'm just the person like, man, I'm hungry. I'm gonna say it's because I overeat and I'm just a chunky person, but like I just sit there, I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Like before it was like 4:00. Not even then. No, it started this morning. I wake up this morning, I was like, God, I'm hungry. So like I eat stuff, and then he picks me up when we go to the beach, and I'm sitting there like, God, I'm hungry. I should have brought more food. I bought a bag of chips. She got me a sandwich, and like we had Twinkie, like we had sweets and like water. We get into the water for about 20 minutes. I come out, I was like, man, I'm hungry. And then like I just fucking eat the sandwich and almost an entire bag of like chips. And I sit there and grumble about how hungry I am to myself for like the next 3 hours.
Well.
And I still haven't eaten.
It is 4:20.
I didn't even do anything until like 2 hours ago.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I was at home and showering when I started that. But damn,
Oh my
that
gosh.
that's just who I am. Like I want one thing, but I gotta be real. I'm fucking that other. I'm the other dude. I'm the sidekick.
I'm not as positive and happy go lucky as Malik though. But I do agree on the food front. Like I'm 9 times out of 10 gonna be down to eat.
Yeah,
Even if I just
like
ate. Like
buffets and I are the best of friends, but the worst of enemies. Because there was a Chinese buffet place that I loved going to. Everyone else hated it around me, but I loved going to because I love Chinese food and like being able to have copious amounts of food and a lot of different choices was supreme. And every time we went, someone's like, "We're gonna get food poisoning from here." I was like, "Fuck yeah, we are!" But it's gonna be so good going down. Like it
gonna be
doesn't
so
matter.
worth it.
It's teppanyaki down by the
Oh
mall.
my god. It's not even there anymore, I don't think. Or if it is, I think it's called something different.
It's always called something different. It's always under new ownership, but it's always the same people that like work within. They just change the name and claim under new management. So
I cannot with you. I can't eat there either. That
they
is
even had like human trafficking concern.
it wasn't that good, Emily.
They had human trafficking concerns, and I was like, an employee of the state, like for child services, and I was like, "I'm gonna go. I need my chow mein."
That's not okay. Anyway.
I'm like Mary and Pippin. When's third breakfast?
What about second lunch?
Now
Oh
we have
my
to get past
gosh.
third breakfast first.
I cannot with you. Oh my gosh.
Am I a Hufflepuff?
Oh my
Am I
gosh.
truly a Slytherin?
Yes, because you were like, they have human trafficking concerns, but I'm a go.
You're right. You're right, though.
You might be a Slitherpuff, but my goodness. Anyway, back to Amaris and Ash and Malik. So they're in Priori. Um, they do catch attention, and they
Captain of the guard, right?
yeah, like the guards come and Amaris persuasions them and is like, "You will now escort us to see the queen," and so they do. And Malik is like, "I guess this means we aren't getting food."
There I am again.
There, they get to
I
the
love him so
castle.
much. I got real confused during this time. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Do I need to go to bed to like reread this? Like, what is happening? I was so
They get to the castle,
confused.
and like the servants are like, "You can't meet the queen all dirty. You have to take a bath first." And Amaris is like, "Okay." Like, so they get separated, and like when they take a bath, the servants obviously take all their weapons. So they're all like separated. They don't know where each other are. They feed them, and take all their weapons, and then they give them like new clothes, and they try to make Amaris wear a dress, and she's like, "The fuck I am." So she ends up wearing like the juggler's clothes, like these pants and this like frou-frou jacket.
Can you just real quick? So when this happened, it didn't. I wasn't even thinking of colors, like what color it would be like, or what it's being described as. All I could think of was like the outfits that the actual jugglers wear from like the circus in my hometown. That's all I could think of. Just like
I was
bright,
imagining like, yes, like a 14th century juggler or like
like puffy
jester in a
shirt.
court. Yes.
with like a little
tight
like dangly
leggings.
ears. Yeah, and like a
Yes.
little bells on the toes and just like a striped colored like colorful every single stripe's a different color like clown suit. That's all I could think of. And I'm
Yes.
sitting there like
Exactly.
I'm
Yes.
like, man, I want to know what everybody else is wearing then.
Right. Oh my gosh. But they go
Did they
through
ever
all of this.
explain
What?
sorry, did they ever explain why the castle is in the shape of a horse?
No, I don't
Like
think
why a
so.
horse?
I don't think they did explain that.
Okay, because that's what I got confused on. I was like, a
Um,
horse? What the fuck?
but yeah, they go through all of this, and then what's his name? Gadriel.
Dadriel.
Yes, he shows up, and Amaris is like, he's basically like, I'm your backup on the inside, and Zakai and the others are on the outside if something were to go wrong. And he's like, you allowed them to take your weapons, and she's like, what the fuck else was I supposed to do? First of all, because she asks him for a dagger, but he gives it to her. Um,
And this weird like moment between them happened.
yeah, like this weird, like they have like a moment, like a moment, like a wiggle your eyebrows moment.
Not even like all the way moment, but it was something.
Yeah, like, but and then the other thing was, I was like, it annoyed me because I was like, she's not technically weaponless because she has her power, like she has her persuasion, so technically she's not weaponless. Um, and on page 427 is where I said that, and she was like, she was having um like instincts that something was wrong, something wasn't right. And I'm just like,
Is
girl,
anything ever right though?
right, but like, girl, trust your instincts. And she was like, it's just because it's an unfamiliar place. Like, no, it doesn't matter. Trust your instincts.
Yeah,
But she
always
doesn't.
falling.
And then on page 434, why did I write that?
You know,
Oh,
there's always something.
on page 434, which is the last page of the chapter, um, like right after they have their moment where they're like staring into each other's eyes, he says, it says Amaris, he asked, her name on his lips was a whisper. And she says yes, and he says, you look ridiculous. And then it says, her mental to-do list now read, persuade the queen to stop killing northerners, escape the castle, and kick Gadriel on the manhood, in that order.
I love him.
I do
Daddy
too, and
Gad.
that's what I wrote. And then the servants show up, and they're like, her majesty will see you now.
You know, here's like a weird thing. Why is there always like a trio? Like an
I don't know.
archetype trio in
I
all
feel like
books.
because you
Harry
have to have,
Potter,
right, you have to have the protagonist, you have to have the like,
the
either the
hero, the
smart one or the
damsel.
strong one, and then you have to have the comedic relief. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's it.
Like Avatar The Last Airbender with Aang and Katara and fucking Sokka being the hungry hippo. And
Yep.
then you got Harry Potter with the trio. You got even the Avatar, like the Legend of Korra. There was a trio in there. And then Lord of the Rings, there's two trios. You got Merry and Pippin, which I kind of think are the same person. So like there's like that one person. And then Sam and Frodo. Like you got the three of them. Or you can even have the others, like Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn.
Uh-huh.
That's another one.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
All the way back to Tolkien days. Like, it's there. But back to Nox.
Oh, Nox. And Nox. So the first thing that I wrote about this chapter was just like, she says something about she still hasn't seen Emily, and I'm like, Melissa, you fucked up
Honey, you ain't
because
gonna see her.
Well, because like now Nox is already fucking pissed and looking for revenge. What's gonna happen when she finds out that Millicent killed Emily? Because she's gonna find out.
For sure.
And I'm just like,
But you
yeah,
know what? She's so close to Amaris. So fucking close.
I know. Which I
And
feel like
like,
is why Emily had to die, even though I don't like it.
yeah, it's fine. I'll just die. But the anxiety, the nerves of knowing like any second she could just run into Maris, and I'm like,
Right?
ugh.
I know. I
It's like a
know.
drug. Like you just need it.
I literally wrote that on page 437. I was like, please tell me they're finally going to meet. Oh my gosh.
But here we go, back to Captain of the Guard. And
Yes,
this
here
is
we
where I
go.
think the desperation of Millicent is very apparent because she's like, I need this, and you're going to be the one to get it, but I don't want you to go.
I lied. This is the chapter that made me sick. So if you thought the last one was bad, I mean that one made me sick too, but like this one really made me
This
sick.
is the one I thought you were actually talking about, and I was like,
It
she was so
is.
close to the end of this like reading when she sent that. Like that made no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no,
This kind
yeah.
of fucked me up.
I think I blocked this out honestly because I forgot until I just looked at my notes what we're about to talk about, and I am now like, ooh,
Yeah. But so Knox goes to, what is it called? Something Pony? Bird and Pony, a tavern where this um captain of the guard supposedly hangs out, and he consistently takes home women, like different women every night, not every night but like every time he's there kind of thing.
yep,
So she goes and she's like, all right, well, I'm going to be that woman tonight and he's going to become mine. And so she explains her like little cat and mouse game that she's playing, and how um like she has to think her moves through. She's like making it similar to like chess. Um and then I really like this last part though. I was like, man, that's quite a like pickup line. But he introduces himself as Aramis. Is that how I'm pronouncing it? Is that how you're pronouncing it?
I think so.
I don't know. That's kind of how it's spelled, but
And I don't think it's
Samael is
in.
also spelled like Samuel, and that's incorrect too. Um, why do I think Aramis such is like a shitty person, or not himself, but like that name, it just belongs to a
Because
shitty person.
it
It
sounds
reminds me
super
of Eris.
pretentious. It just sounds
It
super
reminds
pretentious.
No, it reminds me of Eris from Akatar. Like that
Okay,
prick. That's that. I think that's why. It just every time I
probably.
say Aramis, it's like Eris. It's the same person, but it's really cool. Or not cool, but he's like, and what do I call you? And she's like, call me yours. Smooth. If someone said that to me, I would have been like, what the fuck? There's no
Yeah.
slob about it. I'd be like, that's weird. Don't do that. I'd get
I think,
embarrassed.
is that where I wrote? Yeah, I was like, ew, cringy. Don't get overconfident, Knox. Because, like, bleh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it wasn't even a long cat and mouse game. Like when it was with the Duke, it was long. It was
Yeah.
like a few days planning, like setting the trap, and then it was just like a few hours prancing around, like acting like he's not there until all of a sudden,
Yeah. But I
like
feel
snare
like
is caught.
that should have been a warning sign for Knox. But she's so overconfident
Honestly,
right now that she was like, yeah, let's do this. Like, I'm great. I'm so good. Look how quick this was. I just looked over my shoulder and then he came over here. Like, Knox.
yeah. And I wonder too, like, I wondered at the time I was reading this, I thought, like, well, what if he knows that she's something else?
Right.
And that's why it was so easy. Not necessarily because of, like, his fetishes.
Yeah, nope. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I
Really
think if
weird.
he knew that, he wouldn't have done what he did. But I also, like, again, here we are. She's like, something's wrong. My instincts are telling me something's wrong. And she's like, no, I'm just nervous. I'm just, um, something unusual doesn't make it wrong. But like, he's taking her into the palace gates. And she's like, this is weird. This isn't right. Does he bring all these women into the castle? Like, yeah, he does.
That's why I
But
thought maybe he knew she was something else and, like, he was taking her to, like, a prison cell or something like that. Maybe not necessarily like a
not a prison
succubus, but like a,
cell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Turns out he takes all those women into the castle because they don't come back out.
Takes him to a torture room
Yeah, he takes her to a torture
for,
chamber.
I guess BDSM, but like
But like
past the point
murder.
of no control. Yeah.
Right, like murder BDSM, like the toy box killer level shit. Like,
Because there's blood. I mean, it doesn't explicitly say that, like, he's murdered all, it's implied, but there is dried blood. However, it is in the middle of, like, the castle, so, like, it could be an area for prisoners, but
no, this was all too
it's,
smooth. Like, and that's why I say, like, that's why it was so easy for her, because he was hunting her too. And I think she even says it at some point, like, they were
it
both
was
hunters
also a
and they
hunter,
were
yeah.
hunting each other. And so now she's in this fucking torture chamber with a sadist.
And she started to, like, lose it. She's like, oh God, oh God. And then all of a
She's
sudden
like,
she
fuck, fuck,
stops
fuck,
and
fuck, fuck.
goes, and all of a sudden she just stops and goes, oh, sir, I do love a good sadist. And I was like, ballsy. Ballsy.
Right. Right. And I just imagine her, like, sitting on the edge of the table and crossing her legs and putting her hands on her knees when she says it. And I'm just like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
this is
It's like a business
nuts.
proposal.
And she basically, like seduces him into his end. Like,
Yeah.
or like almost like pokes the bear. Like, she just keeps saying things like,
Like, I
she
like it rough.
says, warm me up first and I'll let you do whatever you want to me. And he says, you'll eat those words. And she says, I can't wait. And then, like, he's
Yeah.
coming to her
Because
to
it
have
was,
sex. Like,
instead of, like, explaining, or not explaining, but, like, letting the fear take hold, she is basically like, I like it rough. Or, I love a good sadist. Or whatever. And, like, she even just watched him as she, like, sensually touched herself. And then he walks over to the flogger, grabs the flogger off, and he just tells her to bend over. And she's like,
yeah, no.
uh. And then it was just like a page worth of saying, like, oh no, like, I'm in check again. Like, I need to finish it now, or I'm dead meat, or I'm this, or I'm that.
Yep.
And it was just weird. It's like a
Yes.
weird
The
moment.
whole fucking chapter was weird and disgusting. Like, which it's funny to me because, like, in this fictional story, I'm like, ugh, but maybe it's because I'm so attached to these characters. But I can sit there and listen to, like, murder podcasts, and I'm like, that's fucked up. But I'm not, like, this made me more sick than my murder podcast, and those are real murders. And I'm like, like, maybe
Kudos.
I need some
Kudos to
help. I
the
don't
author.
know.
Right?
Right?
But
Exactly. Like, hey, Piper CJ, this was, yeah, made me feel
are you
things.
okay?
Right?
It was just Nox just did a lot of ballsy moves this chapter. And she won.
Did.
I mean, she ended up winning.
She did, but I feel like she got so lucky. Like,
Oh,
again,
yeah.
some of it was strategy, but, like, so much of it was just straight up luck.
And
And then This part just made me laugh.
She takes a piece of leather from the flogger that he was going to use on her.
And had
Just
probably
wraps
used
it
on
around.
other women.
Multiple, yeah. Well, at this point too, he's like a shell of a man, just able to grunt yes or no's. And he basically or she's like, "Have you used this on other women?" Oh, I'm sure you used all of this on other women. And then she just takes that leather strap and wraps it around his balls.
Yep. And ties
And
it.
ties it tight.
Yep.
So within a few days or so,
Then it's just gonna
it's gonna
fall
fall off.
off.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
I I literally wrote, I feel like she's about to serve up some sadistic justice. And then she did.
Yeah, she really did though. For the next few hours.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then she basically, like, she gets what she came for. Like, she's going to put him in a daze. He's going to be under her control, which hopefully is going to end up being good for Amaris. We'll see.
Yeah.
I
But
guess
right
we haven't
now.
got to that part yet. But
No. But right now, she's just going to torture him until then.
yeah. Yep.
It's going to be great. But chapter 41.
We're back to Amaris.
Like,
And
this
was so confusing at first.
Yeah, it was really confusing. But I was also, I don't know if I was confused more or if I was anxious more because I knew she was going up against the queen. And all I could think of, what if the queen was immune? What if the queen.
Or if the queen is Fae. Like, what?
Yeah, like, does she know anything about the North? Like, is there a reason why she's doing this? Like, there's got to be something. Like, she's got to know something. Like, she's got to have magic. And I even thought, like, the curse was hers. I was like, she probably made it. Like, she probably did that. Like, we talked about that in a previous episode.
We did.
And I'm sitting there like, yeah, there's a reason why you're feeling like this. It's because of these reasons. And then they go up to the like location where there's two chairs. One's for the crown prince and one's for the queen. And Ash and Malik go, "Your majesties or your highnesses." And Amaris is like, no,
Right,
there is nobody. Like, it's just the queen. And so she's like kind of spiraling within herself, trying to figure out why they're not there. And so she's trying to regain her self-control. And then she's explaining what she wants of the queen without persuasion yet. She wants to talk to her and try to get her to stop, but she kind of fucks it up. Because I really, really like was very concerned for this chapter just because like this is a very dangerous like moment for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, you need to stop killing everyone that comes from the northern border. And she goes, killing? It's like the audacity. And it's like, right. Okay, you weren't killing men per se, but you're killing, you know, what people believe to be evil beings, even though they really are truly men from the north. And she's just upset.
I just love how confused Amaris is. Like, the queen turns around to talk to Amaris is just an empty throne, and Amaris is like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like,
she's like, if there were rumors of a mad queen spreading throughout Farehold, like this would do it.
Yeah,
and everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, you're right. The crown prince said this," and then Mars is like, "Yeah, no." There's no one sitting in here.
Yeah, but so she's like talking to Ash, and she's like under her breath, she's like, "What prince?" And Ash is like, "The fuck do you mean, what prince? The prince right fucking there."
Yeah. Like, Ash is getting agitated because like she's fucking up, and Malik's like, "Are you okay?" Like, he's truly up there, and she's like, "There's no one." Like,
right, like, what anyone are you talking about?
And then something that...
Then I'm just like, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say something Samael, like, said to her a long time ago, kind of, like, jolted her awake, and her realization hit.
And I'm just like, she could have gone about this very differently, and maybe things wouldn't have turned out exactly how they did. But yeah, the thing from Samael was, he said, with those eyes, I'd love to see what gift of sight you possess. And then
And it's
Amaris,
not like
it
sight in the
clicks.
term. Yeah, it's not like
Yeah,
sight in the literal sense. It's
like,
her eyes can truly see what's in front of her,
yeah. So
which is
like
why
now
she
she
doesn't
can
see the
see,
Igimni.
right. She sees Gadriel and Zakai for what they truly are, and she sees that there is no prince. And she just says that in the middle of the court, in front of all these people. She said, "There is no prince."
And
Um,
guards without weapons.
yeah. And Malik is like, "What are you doing?" And she said, "There is no prince. It's an illusion." And like, I'm just like, "Damn, girl! Like, really? You could have gone about this a wee bit differently."
And then she dropped the bomb.
Yep, she sure did.
She's like, "You have the gift of illusion. Your Majesty, the perception at the border, it's your curse." So like she knows, Amaris knows. And so instead of like ignoring her and trying to like be aloof about it, like, oh, this girl is mad, she just starts screaming guards.
Right? Like, what the fuck? And then
I
all of a sudden, Amaris is like, "Oh fuck! Like, I have persuasion. I need to use it." Um, but
tries
obviously,
and
since she
fails.
has magic, she is not entirely human.
Yeah.
So her persuasion does not work. And then all of a sudden it says, "A thud deadened everything, and stars swallowed her vision. She fell to the ground as the pommel of a sword hit her over the head, and the world around her winked into black." And that, my friends, is where we stopped reading. That
What
is the
happened?
end of chapter 41.
I'm kind of imagining the queen being the Queen of Hearts from Alice. Like the temper tantrums that she's throwing and like the quick witted guards. All of
Yeah.
that bullshit. That's all I could think of.
I think I was picturing more of like Cersei Lannister.
Oh, that too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think the queen's outfit, like the one from like legitimate Alice in Wonderland, like the cartoon,
Uh-huh.
the extravagant like black and white, or not black and white, black and red, like differences because of the cards.
Yeah.
She's got a gaudy ass dress.
Yeah.
Ugh, what a good
All
time. What a good
right.
time.
Heck yeah. So
Until next time.
next week, yeah, next week is going to be back to some magic. We're going to talk about Beltane, right? Beltane, that's how you say
We
it.
looked up the pronunciation and we were extremely incorrect by saying Beltane, but now I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, well, we will pronounce it correctly
I think
next
it's
week.
Beltane or Beltane.
Belton,
Belton.
We
I don't
will
know.
look it up, and next week we will say it correctly. Because remember, this podcast is all about our journey and how we're learning along with you. So you have to bear with us
We're also
or
in
not.
America where no one wants to pronounce anything in its native tongue correctly.
True. True.
And the way our words learn, or like we learn our letters and our sounds, it's you don't learn any other language at the same time. So
For
you're
real.
like deep rooted in how you speak.
In America. Ugh. Anyway, so we're going to do that episode, the Sabbath episode, next week. And then the week after that, we are going to finish The Night in Its Moon. And then I don't think we
Book
plan
one.
anything after that. So you'll learn more as we learn more.
Yeah, really though. Anyways,
All right. Well, till next
my fat
time.
ass has to go eat.
Bye.
Bye.